For today's video, we have the round 11 going into round 12 question and answer video. So usually I do this on Tuesday nights, but just couldn't get around to it. So just for this week, it's Thursday. And yeah, everyone who commented on the Supercoach Take podcast video or my weekly video, I'll answer those questions as best as I can. Half the questions are on Heeney, so I think we'll knock that one out first. So the question is Heeney a good option at 390 whatever K, 400K odd? Now, it's very hard because you read, some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. So you got to be careful who you listen to and try and make up your own mind. But this is my opinion on Heeney and the situation. So first of all the 400K forwards are bad, all of them. The only one I remotely like is Kyle Langford, who's getting CBAs in the past 3 weeks. But from watching as much as I can and reading about Kyle Langford and reading all his draft profile information as well. So yeah, he's gotten 70% CBAs the last 3 games. Before that, he's gotten basically none. To me, he looks like a wingman and not a high contested player. So again, does he stay in that midfield rotation? I'm not sure. Is he a good clearance player? No. So he kind of sends, like, Parish gets all the clearances and Langford's kind of the one on the outskirts of the contest. But yeah, that's probably enough on Langford anyway. So for me, it's basically Heeney or nobody in that price range, I think. So here's the thing with Heeney. So off the field, ultimate professional, hard worker, had played through years of injury beforehand, on and off, played 20 plus games. This year, the problem is his ankle's not 100%. He says he thinks it'll be 100% next year. His ankle's not 100%. He injured that ankle. He got tackled basically. Basically, the umpire blew the whistle. I think it was a Richmond player tackled him after the whistle. So Heeney kind of just like loosened up a bit because the whistle had blown, and then he got tackled and hurt his ankle. That was the same game. I can't remember if it was the same game. It might have been the same game that he broke his thumb. So that he played really poorly that game. So with Heeney, is he an option at 400K? I think he's the only option at 400K. The problem is I think you'll need a reliable rookie cover. I'm probably going to have to rely on Waterman now. And then next few weeks, if I get through the next month, I'll have another rookie that pops up cover, hopefully. So I think I'll be trading Heeney in. Is this a good idea with low trades? No, but I don't see an alternative. So that's my view on Heeney. I think it's high risk, but he has proven before that he can play most games through injury, and he only has to get through 12 games, plus he has a rest. So this is wishful thinking that this is going to be a great pick. I expect him to have some down games, and again, against Carlton on the weekend. So if you're a Carlton supporter, your club is rubbish defensively. So we saw Dustin Martin in round 1. No one went within 20 feet of Dustin Martin. The defenders, apart from Wiedering and Jones, the key position, they're okay. The small, medium are not good at all. So for me, obviously it was a bit of a spike game, but Heeney scored well every single game he's played and been fit. So 2 of the games he wasn't fit, I believe, 2 or 3. So there will be hiccups, but for his price, there are no alternatives at that price range. If you are in a position where you don't have to pick Heeney at 400K in the forward line, there is absolutely no way I would pick him. There's absolutely no way. So I think he's the best of the worst. So unfortunately, I think the scoring power is there. Even when Buddy's out, he'll probably go 80 in the 80s. If Buddy's playing, probably 95 plus. It also depends on opposition. But his fixture, apart from the next few games are really easy, then he's got a few hard ones, then he finishes off with an easy one. So there's 0 chance he plays every game for this season. So, but because of his price, he's so cheap. If you can get a rookie cover in for, say, 2 games, plus there's all the other crap that happens with him. So I think the answer is go Heeney if you have to. If you don't go Heeney. I think it's as simple as that. So that's my answer for Isaac Heeney. So now we'll filter through the next few questions. I'll probably have to skip a few because they're all on Heeney. Okay, old mate Daniel. Unlucky round, mate. I have 5 rookies. I'm thinking of double downgrade players like Cozzy, Jordan, and 450k in the bank, or an extra trade and get Zorko in, but have 111k. So do you want to pay up for Zorko this week, or just downgrade, build your bank up? I don't love the Zorko option with Neil coming back, because I think that means he's slightly overpriced or at his price. But Zorko's been very, very, very good this year. Exceptional. Far better than I expected. So I'm not sure I would be going Zorko now. I think the plays to bet against him, especially at 570 or whatever he is. I'd rather pay for Neil or something. So if you have a plethora of money, then I would get Zorko. If you don't, then I would preserve that money, make sure you have a better team elsewhere. So, yeah. Also, because you have Jordan, I still would be holding Jordan till his last buy. So I probably prefer the double downgrade option. Okay, another Heeney question. Rutten said that Wright is very unlikely to play this week, which is good for Waterman. That would help a little bit. I need him to play in the round 14 bye, but I think Waterman, he can play a bit up the ground, and we might see him enter that midfield rotation coming up soon, because he's slowly getting a few midfield rotations. So I think his tank isn't very good. Coming back from his illness, it's very hard to build up fitness from that, but fingers crossed. Waterman's pretty much played decent every time he's played. Played very good in the VFL as well. So I think they want to keep him. And yeah, Wright probably out, almost certainly out this week, so he should hold. But yeah, I think Waterman's one you probably just keep on your bench for the year. I'm not sure he'll make enough money, but yeah. Trades for this week, this is from Will. Sandberry, Flynn out, and Butts out for Bont, Tracy and Bianco. I would be going Reeves over Tracy. But I guess you can go... The problem with trading in Tracy is now we have CCJ and Reeves coming in, so you kind of get, 2 donuts in the buys by going Tracy. So I think Flynn out is still fine. I'd probably go CCJ over Tracy, to be honest. But I guess if you really need the money and that gets you Bont, I guess you could, but I'd kind of find a way to get CCJ, to be honest. He looks great, and he's probably going to up his ruck time now. So I thought he was a field option before, playing third tall and attending minimal ruck contests, but now that he's going to get ruck time, CCJ on field, he can be your last upgrade and your last F6 or whatever. Nick says, I asked you if I was crazy to trade in Took Miller. I said to go for it, and then you went against it. Should I turn to alcohol? Yeah, that's the worst, when you almost trade in a player and then they go berserk and then you didn't get him. Miller looks like a completely fine option. He played Hawthorn, so Hawthorn are not good at all. So because of his buy, I guess it's Took Miller versus Guthrie. I'd go Guthrie over Miller, but the problem is Guthrie has issues with his AC joint. Don't know if that affects him. Lord have mercy, if Guthrie is out in the bye rounds, I'll be mega screwed. But fingers crossed. So Took Miller 600k is probably still fine. I think probably close to his max price. So I think it's fine. Not one that I've monitored a lot, but he seems to find the pill a bit like Guthrie. He just keeps finding the pill. No issue at all. Blake asks, Lions or Parish? That's really tough. It's hard to... Lions had one down game, but I think his clearance numbers might go down a little bit, as they were down when Neil was in the team. So there might be... Lions probably going to be cheaper, and I don't know if Parish keeps this up. Bombers fixture hasn't been too difficult the last month or so either. I think Parish for the pod, but I think they look both like 115 players to me. Roy. As a Heeney owner, I'm really nervous for this week after you brought him in. I feel like you'll jinx him and he'll get 50 or get injured. I mean, it's always a possibility. I mean, it's very stupid to go for a player with us that's carrying an injury and that needs to be managed, but I guess the thing is, it's the alternatives. They are just non-existent at the price. So it's a high risk that I expect him to miss 1 or 2 games. Hopefully he doesn't hurt the ankle too badly. But the ways he's gotten injured, I know he's constantly gotten freak injuries, but they are really, really unlucky in terms of, like, he didn't really, apart from the hand that he broke, it was he got tackled really unlucky after a whistle. So if that didn't happen, he probably would have only missed games for that punch. So again, with Heeney, expect 1 or 2 disaster for like a week or 2. So yeah, and I probably have to keep saying this, but do not go Heeney if you don't have to. It's pretty simple. Who would have thought the Terror squad would finish a forward line with Zeeble, Hall, Impey, Heeney, maybe, and Dale. Dusty's the only one who doesn't look out of place, and ironically, he may be the one that drags the forward line down. Well, yeah, Dusty's not top 6 this year. I don't see how he is. I like Dale a lot. Shy Bolton's there, Hind is there, Zeeble, Hall, Zorko. Probably missing somebody. Tom Hawkins has always been there the past 3 years. So, the forward line, it's a bit annoying that now when Dale and Hind and Hall were all like sub 450 to 400. You kind of had to get them then. Now it's kind of difficult unless you have a plethora of money. But yeah, I think the forward line this year, it's actually pretty good. So, and it's so painful trading Dev because I really didn't want to do it, but he needed to score really well to reset his break even, and he scored like 80 average over 3 rounds or something. But the whole point of getting Dev was to buy time to figure out the forwards, and I think it was a good strategy. It's just I didn't execute it properly because I traded Dev early, but it did get me Aaron Hall for 10k, so I guess that's okay. But yeah, the forward lines, maybe it's a lesson for next year because a lot of the forwards might have role changes or might be really cheap. Maybe we just go heavy rookies there or mid prices, and that way we can just pick the proven midfielders, defenders, and rucks. And then we'll pay a little bit extra in the forward line, but it will give us time to figure out who the forwards are. So I really like that strategy, and I sort of tried to do that with the Tom Atkins pick this year. So Atkins was good for me until I think Tui went back. So something to take note for next year. Zach Reed should free Ridley from his lockdown role. Zach Reed, I don't know. Doesn't he have glandular fever? And he's key defender. I think Ridley does. I think they play on different opponents, and so I'm not sure. I hope so, but I'm not sure. Trying to be rational says 47 must-haves in the forward line. There's a lot of, I think it's a lot of 1A, 1B, 1C scenarios, but then you got your top tier like Zorko and Hall probably. And then I think Dale can actually, based on what I've seen in the last few weeks from Dale, I think Dale can be in that bracket as well, but it just depends on, I guess, his consistency. I'm getting the goat. Took don't care about the price. People win Guthrie the same price. I mean, that's fair. If you want Took, I have no issue with that. Wasn't Butts a high price rookie? Butts was 170k, worth every cent. Truck said 2 meter Peter misses as well. Yep, thanks for that. Mills, Bont, Reeves for Danaher, Jordan, and Flynn. That's a very nice. You got yourself a top 3 mid and probably a top 2 defender. I would just get it done. They have hinted they might put attention into Bont this week from Fremantle, which would be a miracle because last year I started him, was averaging like 100 the first 7 weeks because he got tagged. So I'm thinking this year, okay, we'll use him as an upgrade target. So I do feel like Bont's due to get tagged, and again with Bont, if you're bringing in Bont for 670, the only way I would do it is if it doesn't compromise your next few upgrades. Does it make you have an extra rookie on the field for an extra week because you're paying that much? Otherwise, Bont and Mills, get it done. That's fine. Impey playing mid-forward role from Jalen Pavlidis. Yes, that's what I heard. I heard in the midfield rotations and a bit of half-forward for half a game, I think. So that's the thing with Heeney, right? So all of a sudden, if this continues, Impey might need a correction. My view is Impey should win the BNF at Hawthorn, and they'd be really stupid to play him anywhere else other than half-back, even though they have Will Day coming back. So Impey's break-even, I think, is 110 or something. So this is one where, yeah, this is a very interesting one, and I think it'd be wise preserving a trade for this. I would be very surprised if he continued in the mid-forward role. We know Clarkson can move plays around for a couple of games here and there. Impey was their best defender by a mile. I don't know why they would move him out of there. So for me, I would hold, and then if this role continues for 1 or 2 weeks and his break-even gets out of control, which it might, I'd definitely hold him for round 13. Because he was D2 he was F2 a few weeks ago. He's pretty much had one bad score in the past few weeks, and that was this week. So Impey's a very, very good player. I would wait not look if you have a ton of trades, I think you can do it because he probably goes 90 average in that defense role. However, with Impey, it's if you have heaps of trades, you can probably just trade to someone else that has no risk of role change and probably averages 90 plus as well. So that's fine if you have excess trades. If you don't, just he's been a very, very good player this year. I would just see if he plays back to defense. So Dime time. I can't believe you've been so against Zorko. I started with him and laughed every week I watched your review. Well, at least I guess at least providing content for some people. But yeah, I think I'm getting criticised a lot on Twitter for this, and I still maintain that I've had an okay year. I've just made a few mistakes, but with Zorko, I still will. Next year I won't pick a player that's 32 and had 2 soft tissue injuries the year before. So yeah, a bit sick of going over this every week, but it was just a mistake and it happens. So I stand by my thought process, and maybe Zorko was an exception because of his durability before last year was unbelievably almost spotless. So that's fine. Just have to move on and admit that I made the mistake. So very costly mistake, but that's okay. Okay, George, hope this gets on the Q&A. Thoughts on Houston? Back to his good role of halfback and got 97. Possible D6 next week. Yes, I think he's... On the podcast a few weeks ago, my view on Houston was I wanted to see him play well in round 13 after his rest. So he played well, I think. I don't know if the AC joint is going to continue to be an issue, but look, I'm not 100% sure, but it would make sense. Just leave him at halfback. They chucked him at halfback for the back half of last year, I think, for the most part, at least the last third of the season. They should really... Look, I'm not the coach, but if I was Paul, I would just play him in his best position, which is in defence of halfback, because he's very good at the role, gets kickouts, and he's 400 odd K. So I think if you can get him in round 14, if he looks good in 13, that's what I would do. But yeah, just know that I'm not 100% sure, because I think you have alternatives like James Harms in defence at the same price, but that might be a bad one for your buy. So I'm not sure I'd get him in round 13. I think his break-even's still okay. So I'd probably look at him in round 14 if you can. If he looks back, if he's playing halfback again and looks fit. But again, not sure if that AC joint flares up. I'm not sure. I have no idea if that's a permanent thing or not. He was on the injury list as a test this week, coming into round 11. So that's a little worrying. But yeah, given the alternatives at that price range, it's probably only James Harms, I think. Adam Sard as well, but Adam Sard's ceiling is way lower. Like, you're probably going to get high 80s from Sard for like 400k. So Houston's definitely, even with the injury, probably better pick than Sard. So don't go down. Only go down to Houston if you have to, I think. But I think he's been very, very good this year. But again, just know there is some risk. But yeah, I would look at him around 14 personally. Thoughts on Cozzy and Tom Green to Bianco and Bont? Yep. That's fine. Baz Gaming. Should I go to 450 to 500 players, e.g. Dusty and a rookie? No, easy Dusty and another 500k player, or a rookie and Bont? I think you go the 2 primos and get the team done. It depends if you think you can finish the final team as well, but I'd probably go the 2 primos. Who are some value mids and defenders we can target? Looking at Yo, Rao, Taylor Adams. So Yo, no, he said he's being eased into the season, osteitis pubis, and he wasn't even that good last year. So don't go Yo. Rao, well, not really sure when he comes back, and don't go Taylor Adams. He's got knee issues, he's got soft tissue issues. He can't, at least Heeney stays on the park. I don't mean to justify Heeney, I still think he's very high risk, but Taylor Adams is a very unnecessary risk in the midfield. So okay, value mids and defenders. So I said Adam Sard is a one with a poorish ceiling, but very durable. Probably gives you high 80s for 400k. If not, probably Houston or Harms. I think Darcy Moore's probably gone up too much in price in terms of value defenders. So probably number 1 Houston, number 2 Harms, 3 Sard. But yeah, just know that the value picks for a reason. Probably yeah, Houston in round 14. In the midfield, Lockie Hunter, sub 500, average 115 last year. role was a lot better than it was, and there's more points to go around in that midfield for the next few weeks. So he might tail off in the last month when Treloar and Dunkley are back. However, Hunter looks really good, and he's racking up the pill at will at the moment. So Callum Ward is sub 500. I don't know. I'm not sure I trust Ward. And then Petrarca's 520. So I'd definitely look at Petrarca. Probably the last one is Adam Chera, who's coming back from a foot injury, ankle injury, who's really, really cheap. So he's one you could go. I think Chera goes 90 to anywhere between 90 and high 90s. So I think you're probably better off paying for like a Lockie Hunter or something. But he's at real cheap price. So those are the kind of the ones. Or Rao if he looks good when he comes back. But I don't know when he comes back. So yeah. I know you've also got suggested Shannon Hearn here. For me, Shannon Hearn is so much. He's had so many soft tissue injuries, and to the point where he actually redid the soft tissue injury he originally had this year already. So for me, that's a no-go. I think it's Houston. What are you planning for your trades this week? Will you remove Highmore to get Whitfield in? Highmore and Murphy for me on my bench are probably going to stay for the year. And then my trades, well, I'm getting CCJ and Bianco in, and then I need a 400k forward. So I think it's Heeney. So it's going to be pain, but I don't really have an alternative, I don't think. Because the thing is, my next two upgrades are, I'm not negotiating on Lockie Neal. And no, I won't budge on Lockie Neal, and I won't budge on Lockie Whitfield. So if I want those two players, I'll need to get a cheaper forward. So just sacrifice at F6 to get a 110 plus player in defence, hopefully. And Lockie Neal, I'm not sure what to expect, but he's been fully training, so that's a good sign. And then he gets a break. So 3 weeks of full training with a break. I think that's enough for Lockie Neal. So yeah. Hey, Sean, hey George, who should I get out of Bailey Dale and Aaron Hall? I think Dale's a little bit safer. Hall has a better buy in the ceiling, so I'm going to say Hall. However, I really think Dale's role is quite disgusting the past month. He's gone up a notch. He's doing... Caleb Daniels' kickouts are gone. It will be interesting to see if Bailey Williams and Crozier start to get more involved, because they've been a little bit out of form the past few weeks, although I think they've had injuries. So I wonder if they pick up the pace, but right now, Dale is doing absolutely everything in that back half. He's the quarterback. Dale could actually go 110 if their setup continues, if they give Dale all the responsibilities down back, as well as coming off the back of stoppages. But if the other defenders start to pick up, maybe they put Daniel back there a bit more, then Dale probably comes down a bit. So it's a tough one. I think whoever's better for your buy, I think that's the correct answer to Dale and Hall. Do you think it's okay to trade Reeves in this week, which means I get Bond and Heeney? That's fine. Zeeble, Hall, MP, Heeney all have injury risk. Waterman, Common, F7, 8. Seems like a donut waiting to happen. It is. Well, Zeeble's been durable except for last year, so he's actually had a proper preseason. It's just that he's reckless, like Heeney. He'll put his body on the line. Hall has had a few... He's had his hamstring or groin worked on. No, I think it was hamstring worked on at training and during the game. So he gets a week off. So maybe Hall is one where he doesn't really have a lot of long-term injuries. And the long-term injuries have all been really harsh contact injuries. So, it seems like an absolute disaster waiting to happen. But I'm thinking by round 16, Comben will be F8. R3. And then I'll have another cover rookie, hopefully. So, yeah, not in a very... This is not the best position to be in, and it's just one where I'm just going to do it and hope, which is terrible, but I have 3 trades left, and I basically have 3 lives remaining for 12 weeks. And yeah, Flint Reeves is fine. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll get Common to R3 eventually. Yep. I'll cash in Reeves, fingers crossed. If Reeves goes down, I am in huge trouble. Huge trouble for the rest of the year. So I need to get 3 price rises out. I need Reeves to play 3 games. That's it. Then I'll get a forward, no problem. Grundy out 2 weeks. Yep. I'll be holding Grundy. Should I trade Danaher? Yes. Unless you're really down bad for trades. Because Danaher's like, you got to remember his durability. What if he tails off? Because it's a big ask to play no games over 3 years and then do a full season. So I think he's a trade now. CCJ at R3 for Flynn to cover Grundy and fund Whitfield, or play in F6 or F6 play on field all year. I don't know if CCJ holds for the rest of the year, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't, to be honest, because he's a very good player. So yeah, I'd probably just go the CCJ route. If it sounds like you are struggling for trades, so I think you'd just maybe field CCJ F6 for the rest of the year, and then hopefully you have another rookie at F6 to help with that, but not the ideal position. I don't know your position, so what do you think about Josh Kelly? Well, Josh Kelly's one where it's a weird one because there's always the slight durability. His durability's been pretty good the past 2 years, which is a bit hard to say, but since the end of 2019, he's had one soft tissue soreness, which he missed a game last year, and then he got a concussion or two, so I think. So that's pretty much all he's missed this year and last year. They're 2 full preseasons, so I think he's worth the durability risk at this point. Does he stay in the midfield? I'm not sure. I think it's more likely he does, but I don't know. So if you can, I would only go Josh Kelly if he's the only one you can afford, because I think 560k and below, he's the one. But if you can pay up for, I don't know, Lions or Parish or Guthrie if he looks good, I would do that route. You will come back from this, George. I hope so. I think F6 is just the forward line is going to be really risky, but I think it's... Well, I'm not sure I have an alternative, so yeah. I Butts and Scott would like to trade both. What do you think of going Scott to Bianco and then Butts up? Yeah, just do that. I want Stewart and Whitfield finish my defence, so yeah, grab Whitfield first. That means I have to field Highmore for a week. Well, considering it's the buys, I think you should be okay, so that's fine. Do you think CJ, Jordan and Atkins to Dusty, Bianco and Whitfield is a good trade? Yes. Get rid of... You can hold Jordan if you want, but yeah, that's completely fine. Get those 3 done. A few more questions here. Any suggestions on forward options I could upgrade to that are cheapies that I could go for, like Heeney? So I've kind of been over this. I don't really... The only one that could possibly work, I think, is... Well, Darcy Cameron if Grundy's out for the rest of the year, but probably not. Kyle Langford is interesting. So I did a lot of research on him, and to me, he's getting the CBAs, but I don't think he's a star midfielder. I think he's a very, very, very good wingman, really good. But he's getting a lot of CBAs at the moment. So good rate of improvement, good age bracket. Durability seems pretty good as well. So 430k, I think he's, if you don't like Heeney, he's the other one. But the problem is his role isn't secure and he's not a super good midfielder. But he gets a lot of, like, he got all the CBAs in the world, but most of his points weren't at stoppages. They were around the ground. So, whereas you've got Parish, gets all his points at stoppages, basically. So, I think it's Heeney, Langford. I mean, it's all rubbish. So, Robbie Gray, probably 80 average. So, plus he's 33, so could get rested or something. Yeah, it's a really bad spot. But it's scam. Do you think having a few rookies on field in the final team is okay? Because I don't have much money in the bank. I guess you got to figure out who's a good rookie to have. So maybe Poulter you can field for the rest of the year, I guess. CCJ is definitely one I would field for as long as possible, especially over the next few weeks when he's going to get a bit of ruck time. So I'm not sure. So it might be a matchup, but Richmond are played more tolls this week, so maybe they want to play more tolls in the future, but we're just guessing. So make sure, if you're going to field a rookie, make sure they have good job security, like a Poulter, I think. But you might need Poulter's money, so, or even a Warner, I guess. But yeah, don't expect much scoring. One you could look at is Harry Mackay, if his shoulder comes good, is going to be very, very cheap. And Jack Darling, although his midfield sucks at the moment, Jack Darling is going to be probably sub 350. So he has scored really well except for last week. Well, not really well, but scored okay except for last week. So just, you could look at that. But yeah, just making the best of a bad situation. Go for Bont this week, costing me an extra trade, or capping me in cash for the future. Or go for Kelly. So it means you have a bit more trades, 3 to 4 trades left. I would go Kelly over Bont if that means you get an extra trade. Because I think Bont, yeah, it just says it's capping you for future cash gen. You don't want to screw your team up because you went for Bont. Look, it's Bont, I guess, probably going to average 125 for the rest of the year. Kelly, maybe 115 if he stays in the midfield. I would go Kelly and look after the health of your team. But yeah, I think we'd all love to have Bont, but it's just, yeah. Just trying to make sure you get to a full team. Who are your top 5 non-premier players that you would consider finishing your team? Off the top of my head, probably say 400k players. Probably Heeney, Harms, Adam Chera, Harry Mackay if his shoulder comes good. I don't like Jack Darling pick, but Darling is probably going to be 350 soon just because he had a really poor game on the weekend. I don't love as much as I love Baz Lenker. Baz, he hasn't really had a very good year, and he's already lost CBAs, and Dunkley and Trelaw aren't even back, so probably not him. Yeah, it's probably Chera, Harms, and Heeney, I guess, in each line. So, yeah. Hi George, should I get Zorko, Dale, or Bolton in? I'm going to say Dale. Is Cripps back? Very tempted. Oh, actually, Cripps is probably one you could go for in terms of, sub-primos. I have not seen 3 games in a row isn't enough for me to say Cripps is back. I think he's definitely capable of going 90 for the rest of the year, but his back halves of the year, the last 2 years, have been completely atrocious. So I don't love the Cripps, but I think he's probably the best option now at 440. It's Cripps or Chera. I'd actually still go Chera, to be honest, because I don't trust Cripps. Yeah, Chera's durability wasn't good as a junior, but since entering the AFL, it's been quite good, apart from the syndesmosis. So I think Chera slightly over Cripps, which sounds stupid, but you have to look at what Cripps did in the first half of the year, basically. Apart from the last 2-3 weeks, he was averaging 84? And yeah, I actually haven't really watched him enough, to be honest, but the eye test the first 8 weeks he was horrible. Horrible decision making. It looked like he was a second behind everyone else, so yeah. Bolton or Dale. If you've watched Dale, you would say Dale the past few weeks, but I think Dale's probably anywhere between 95 and 105, and then Bolton's probably 90 to 108, I reckon. 108 is probably a bit generous. They might shove Bolton forward, and then it kills his scoring, because he was forward a lot on the weekend. It's just they played the Crows. In the second half, they were doing whatever they wanted. So I think Dale's slightly better, but both very good options. So I'll just check if there's any others questions. So Jordan Ridley's role was weird because Francis went down late. I haven't monitored that. Maybe. I'm not sure. Honestly, if Heeney's fit and the Swans are confident on making finals, they will rest him. Probably. Maybe he gets a rest later in the year. Yeah, it's possible. Heeney's very big risk. This question from Oren. The Grundy news has made me want to trade in Coleman-Jones this week and Reeves next week, but a couple K short. I'm keen to go with Mills, but if I can go with Dale instead, I need to get Coleman-Jones. Go Dale and Coleman-Jones over Heeney, over Mills, and a bad rookie, I think. I think Coleman-Jones is going to be worth the price. Can we justify CCJ for Grundy? Probably not. Unless you have like not 8 trades left and you have a finished team. Which in hindsight I probably could have had if I didn't torch so many rookie trades. So if you have 7+ for the final team, I think you can. And then get Grundy a week after he drops and plan for that. But otherwise, I think most people will be holding. It just makes sense. He seems like it's fine. Collingwood said they're taking a conservative approach with him, given the nature of a nerve injury. So yeah, I think it's fine. Hey George, any chance you could do a vid about how scoring works? I guess I'd have to do a bit of research on that. I sort of know, I've read articles on it, but not off the top of my head, so maybe, I'm not sure. Hey George, coming from a Richmond supporter, I think CCJ might hold his spot even when Lynch is back, as they will give him some games so he doesn't leave. Maybe, I hope so. He looks very good, and he's been far too good for the VFL from what I've heard. Do the Heeney comments from Longmire concern you? Yes, managing week to week. They do concern me. I hate the pick. I hate the Heeney pick, but I don't have an alternative. At least the one thing I'm holding on to is that he's an ultimate professional and he can get up for games. It's just he does stupid stuff in game. Just got to, hopefully he gets through 10 of the last 12 games, and plus he gets a rest. So Charlie Dixon, 460k. Yeah, I don't mind Dixon, but the thing is I'd rather pay an extra like 20k for Hind or something. Plays second ruck, so helps his floor. I'm actually priced out of Dixon. I need to go, if he was 420, I'd probably go Dixon, to be honest, over Heeney. And just get the extra points in the buy. But I think it's not the worst option, but I just prefer a little bit more money. At 460, you might as well pay up for someone a bit better. But yeah, the second ruck, is that because Lysette's out? Yeah, I think Dixon's worth a shout. I think it's okay, but yeah, definitely not top 6, but just 460 seems too much. I needed it to be like 420. Hall versus Dale, I sort of said whoever's better for you buy. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I think, what did I say before? I think I said Dale just because of durability, I guess, but yeah. I think they both go Hall probably 100 to 110 for the rest of the year. Dale probably 95 to 105. So I guess that means Hall probably. What was the conclusion on Jelly? I think it's fine if he's the one. He's the one at the price and he's got a good buy. If not, I wouldn't go Jelly if you don't need to. I would go Lockie Neal for an extra 20k. Do you think Hall will be impacted when McDonald returns? Is Dale's role more secure? Dale's role is definitely secure. Hall impacted when McDonald returns. Maybe a little bit, but McDonald's like probably going to just play the last month, so I wouldn't worry. McDonald wasn't even rebounding sometimes when he was playing in the preseason. He was just... Zeba was doing the rebounding and McDonald was locked down, so maybe they just used McDonald in the shutdown role. Plus they'll probably ease him in, so... Yeah, I think Hall's their best player at the moment. I don't think they'd change him, but it's possible, but I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.